Stepped on the scene, dripped in saline. Whole crew shining, call me Mr. Clean. Came in from the back, walked right to the front. Dancing to the music, smoking on the. Got the women smiling, punk grilling me, looking all dusty. Black Force energy, I don't even drink, but the team pop bottles. Not here for the beef, but the Glock holds hollows. Think I'm cocky, but I think I'm worse. In this flexing like a Mr. Universe.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is our predictions for the big fight, Spence versus Crawford. Remember, this is July 29th live on Showtime pay-per-view. If you're in another country, unfortunately, I'm not sure where it's going to air, but hopefully you'll be able to find that out. All right, it's prediction time, and we start off with Ned the TBE. And if you've been watching our other segments, it shouldn't be a surprise what I think Ned's about to say. But anyways, Ned the TBE, who you got in this fight?
I'm messing with y'all. Nah, I'm gonna be real right now. I feel it's gonna be a good fight early in the fight. You watch him out, G. It's gonna be a good fight early in the fight. Like the first 4 rounds, TC's gonna look like, oh, he can hang with Spence. But after the 6th round, Spence gonna show you why why he got 3 belts and why he been waiting so long to be undisputed. TC, you've been holding us up, and it's time for us to run through. So first 4 rounds, TC gonna be looking good. It's gonna go like 2 and 2, half and half, and after that, it's gonna be a wash. I think Spence is gonna landslide TC in this fight. He may knock him out, but he's gonna beat him regardless of what people think, regardless of speculation, regardless of the hype, regardless of the doubt y'all had against Spence. And I think Spence is he may not knock him out, but he's gonna beat the brakes off that boy. He's gonna wash him, rinse, recycle, repeat. After round 6, rinse, recycle, repeat. Everything. He's gonna go on. It's gonna be insane. And that's what I got winning Spence by decision and knockout.
All right, we'll turn it over to Conspiracy G.
Yeah, you know what? I ain't gonna lie, Ned had me nervous, man, because the way he's been gassing Spence, I was like, oh man. But I hate to say this, I actually agree with Ned. And the number one factor for me is really the Spence's size and his volume of punching. With like Crawford, like TC, when he gets to do his own thing, he'll start to tee off on people. But I never seen him really with a person that's like that keeps that pace, that's always moving forward, always on him. You know, I think that's a different element that I haven't seen from TC that could be the deciding factor that's going to cause a lot of frustration for TC. So I think that's where Spence is going to shine, where it's like, I think the first couple of rounds, TC may land some good shots, you know, but as the rounds continue, Spence starts to accumulate shots to the body. That starts to slow down TC's movement, you know, and just his size in that ring of just always moving forward on guys, and TC being forced to fight off the back foot. I think it's going to be a lot to handle. However, initially I was thinking, like, you know, this fight is going to go to decision. But now I'm like, I don't think so. If it does go to decision, I think Spence is going to get it for obvious reasons, seeing that this is a Showtime pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? But I honestly think that Spence is actually going to knock out TC. You know what I'm saying? And, like, I'm going to predict, like, the 10th round. And the reason why is, one thing I like about Spence is petty. Like, I remember one time he was, like, clowning the Charlos and how, like, the Charlos in them, like anytime people comment about their performance, like, they remember it. You know how many people are picking Crawford to win this fight? I know that must be eating at Spence. So, and we seen Spence when he fought Mikey Garcia. Everyone's like, oh, you're just going to bully this dude. You don't know how to box, blah, blah, blah. So what he do, his game plan was, I'm just going to outbox Mikey Garcia, which I was like, you don't need to do that. But he wanted to prove to people he could box too. I think with this one, he's going to be like, all right, you know what? This is knockout season time. Because this dude been talking all this trash about, it's time to catch them a fish, this and the third. I think he wants to show the world why he's actually the best, And so I think, this one, it's not going to decision. I think it's going to be a late round knockout. You know what I mean? Or like at the very least, they're going to throw in the towel. You know what I mean? But I predict it's going to happen in the 10th, the 9th or the 10th round for my man Spence.
All right, and now we'll turn it over to the commish, Trill Dollar Bill.
All right. All right. Don't shoot the messenger. I think I keep playing something in my head, so I got to get it out and tell you guys. I think one judge is going to have it for EJ, and then there's going to be two judges that have it as split decision draw. Yeah. I think two of them are going to have it a draw, and one of them is going to have it for EJ. I see it like because I remember in the March 30th of 2013 when I became a Terrence Crawford fan, right? It was against the guy who upset it, Amir Khan, Prescott. It was the first knockout loss that Amir Khan had. And TC went up to 140. He was at 135, and he went up to 140 to face this guy. Prescott was the much bigger guy. TC was visibly smaller. You know what I'm saying? And this was the only time where I seen that TC was going against some adversity where it looks like, he was a smaller guy going against. All the other times I thought that he was going to win, This was the only time. And I was reminded of that when I was thinking of this fight. Yeah, EJ is the bigger guy. But let's not forget about Terrence Crawford's gifts. He's a little he's more flexible, a little more athletic, he got angles, different angles, and people forget Bud's a strong guy, you know what I'm saying? He used to wrestle and all that other stuff, for you MMA guys. So I don't think it's gonna be one of those where, a person just, walks through them. I think this is going to be a tough fight, and that each guy is going to be able to win some rounds. And I think it's going to be difficult for some judges to score the fight right. I think it's going to come down to what judge want. What does a judge want? Is he going to appreciate the body work, or is he going to like the guy that's moving around boxing? Like, it's going to really come down to the judges. So I honestly, I wanted to pick one guy, but this thing keeps popping in my head. Two judges is going to say it's a draw, and one of them is going to go for EJ. So I don't know how that lies down for my prediction.
So you're predicting a draw?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. So Trill Dollar Bill's predicting the draw.
I know, and I don't want to because
hey, I guess that's an option.
Rematch clause. I wouldn't put past Al. You know what I'm saying? Make as much money as it can. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I mean it's a possibility in fights. So, all right. I actually made my prediction 3 years ago, and I want to pull the prediction up before we go, because I stand on what I said, but I'm going to break down the reasons why. But we did How Good is Terrence Crawford, and we were, this is part of our playlist where we were rating fighters. And just take a listen.
Let's cut the crap. Who you got, TC or Spence?
I go Spence, but that's not about ability.
You would have said TC, blah, you know what I mean?
But to me, that's not. This is assuming one Spence is the guy we saw before the accident.
Exactly. I was just joking anyway.
Spence skills are up there as well, and he's bigger. So, but Terrence Crawford is very skilled, but that size advantage and the skills that Spence got, I think, is going to be too much. But I still think TC's a great fighter. So,
Dope.
And that's been my takeaway. And you see the date 3 years ago. 3 years ago, that's where I stood. I think that Terrence Crawford's a great fighter. I think Terrence Crawford is more skilled than Spence. I think he's more fluid. I think if you're talking about skill for skill, I think Terrence Crawford's better. When I watch Terrence Crawford trains, it's closer to like what I do in the gym. Like it's closer to what I envision the prototypical greats to look like. Terrence Crawford, what he does in the gym. But what I feel like is going to be too much for him to overcome is Earl Spence is going to come in that ring. He's going to be much bigger. Earl Spence is going to apply the pressure. He's going to push the pace. I don't think that Terrence Crawford has power that Earl Spence has never seen before. Remember, Earl Spence has been in the ring with Danny Garcia. He's been in the ring with your Dennis Ugas, who's been shown to have some pop. He's been in there with guys who can punch. He was in there with a prime Kell Brook. So, again, I think Spence can take punishment. But when it comes to Terrence Crawford, he is very skilled. And it wouldn't surprise me if his skill and his condition and his ability kept him in the fight to go the distance and actually win a decision. But I just don't think that he'll be able to take the overall combined size, skill set, and power that Earl Spence possesses. I think Earl Spence has a package that, pause, that's not a way, right? Earl Spence, Earl Spence skill set did not even that was like I think even Earl
Merry Christmas, TBE.
I think his skill set is going to be difficult because he's talented as well. He may not be as skilled as Terrence Crawford, but he's not that far behind. And he's, the bigger fighter, and he has more power. So to me, I feel like that's a bad combination for TC. I also think Earl Spence has fought the better opponents, like we talk about. And I think Terrence Crawford became undisputed in a weak 140-pound division. I think he beat a man who was lucky to be champion in Jeff Horn to get the WBO title. And he's admitted himself, even in the welterweight division, he hasn't fought any marquee names. His best name is Kell Brook, who was past his prime, had 3 fights at 154 before he went back down to 147 to fight Terrence Crawford, and fought Sean Porter in his very last fight before the man retired. And you heard what Sean Porter's dad said. He threw in the towel because he didn't think Sean Porter was prepared. Sean Porter may have thought he was prepared, but Kenny Porter didn't think he was prepared, which implies that Kenny Porter didn't like what he saw leading up to that fight. So for all those reasons, I think Earl Spence is better equipped to win this fight. That sound kind of pause that too. Man, I think Earl Spence, he's prepared for the moment. His experiences have brought him to the point where I feel as though he is primed and ready for this moment. And I think Terrence Crawford is going to be answering a lot of questions. And I feel as though, like I said 3 years ago, when it's all said and done, Earl's skill set combined with size and power is going to be too much for Terrence Crawford. So I think he stops Terrence Crawford in 8 rounds. All right, so thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Remember, you can check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros.